Hey, take a quick second, look at the label inside the shirt you're wearing right now. Go on, check it. I'd bet there's a really high probability you're wearing Bangladesh's work right this very moment. For decades now, this nation has quietly and consistently helped dress the world, basically turning its garment sector into an absolute powerhouse of global supply. But the questions international buyers are asking today, they're rapidly changing. It's no longer just about how cheaply a garment can be made. We are looking at a fundamental shift in how the entire world makes clothing. So in this explainer, we're going completely beyond the basics to ask a really big question. Can Bangladesh actually lead the future of sustainable fashion?
Think about what that Made in Bangladesh tag actually means. You're looking at the end result of an incredible, globe-spanning journey. From cartons being packed and containers moving through bustling ports, all the way to the racks of high-street fashion stores in Europe and North America, this country sits right at the center of the global fashion supply chain. They haven't just been participating in global fashion, they have literally been the engine driving it.
Okay, let's dive into this. To understand why sustainability matters so much here, we first have to understand the sheer economic stakes. According to the BGMEA's export performance data, in the fiscal year 2024 to 2025, Bangladesh's apparel exports reached a staggering USD 39.35 billion. Just let that number sink in. And remarkably, apparel represented 81.49% of Bangladesh's total exports for that same fiscal year. The textile and ready-made garment industry isn't just an important sector, it is the absolute economic backbone of the entire nation.
Recognizing this massive responsibility, Bangladesh has actually already achieved something truly remarkable on the environmental front. If we look at the data reported by the BGMEA on January 31, 2026, the country boasts an impressive 273 LEED-certified green factories. We're talking about state-of-the-art facilities featuring solar panels, rainwater harvesting, ultra-energy efficient machinery, and fantastic natural lighting.
And honestly, the numbers get even crazier. Of those factories, 115 were platinum rated. In fact, Bangladesh hosted 69 of the world's 100 highest-rated green factories according to that same January 2026 BGMA update. It is a phenomenal architectural and environmental achievement. It creates this powerful narrative, a sort of modern industrial myth really, that the green transformation is completely solved.
But here's the thing. Here's the central tension we really need to unpack. Does a green factory automatically create a sustainable business? Look, a beautiful solar-powered building is fantastic, don't get me wrong. But what happens inside and across the wider supply chain is what truly matters. If you have a green building, but your cotton is untraceable, your water consumption remains dangerously high, and you are constantly squeezed by buyer price pressures, well, you do not have a fully sustainable business system. Simply put, a green factory does not automatically equal a complete sustainable business. To bridge that gap, the industry really has to perform across four connected dimensions. We call this the 4P model. First up is planet, genuinely reducing environmental impact. Second is people, developing and protecting the workforce. Third is profit, ensuring the whole thing remains commercially viable. And fourth is proof, the absolute ability to verify every single claim you make. Let's break these down, starting with the environment.
Let's kick things off with planet. Our first pillar faces an immense resource challenge. Textile production, particularly things like dyeing, washing, and finishing, is incredibly resource-intensive. To put that into perspective, according to the World Bank in March 2026, Greater Dhaka generates an estimated 5.3 million cubic meters of wastewater every single day, and nearly 70% of that is associated with water-intensive processing industries. The sheer volume of water, energy, and chemicals flowing through these supply chains represents a massive business and environmental risk. Because of this, things like water recycling and advanced effluent treatment are no longer just nice-to-have environmental side projects. Water reuse literally equals lower risk and lower dependency. Treating and recycling water directly back into the production cycle is fast becoming a vital core business strategy for long-term competitiveness. Because at the end of the day, you can't operate a factory tomorrow if you run out of usable water today.
Now, moving on to our second pillar, people. Machines might manufacture garments, but it is the people who actually build the industry. The millions of workers in Bangladesh are skilled industrial professionals. And true sustainability means ensuring their safety and fair treatment, absolutely. But it also means investing in their future capabilities. It means providing technical skills training, clear career development paths, elevating women into supervisory and management positions, and ensuring a healthy open dialogue between workers and management.
And to truly support those people, factories need a massive cultural shift. They have to evolve from a reactive, audit-based culture, where the only goal is just to pass an inspection or meet minimum compliance, to a proactive, capability-based culture. In a capability-based culture, the mindset is about improving every single day. It's about preventing recurring problems rather than just slapping a Band-Aid on them, focusing heavily on long-term performance and genuine competence.
All right, this brings us to the third P, profit. Honestly, this is probably the biggest structural hurdle in the entire industry right now. Who actually pays for sustainability? Buyers globally are demanding cleaner production, renewable energy, and certified materials. But currently, the manufacturers often carry the heavy burden of these capital investments. Now, this isn't about buyers being villains or manufacturers being victims. It's a shared structural business challenge. Shared requirements absolutely need shared responsibility, and that includes figuring out new financing models and real cooperation.
And this brilliantly illustrates how sustainability has to become a measurable commercial proposition. Generic claims? They just aren't enough anymore. You need hard data dashboards. You need to show exactly how water use is reduced per kilogram of fabric, that energy is precisely measured per order, and that your waste is recovered. When you turn sustainability into measurable, trackable business capabilities, it suddenly becomes a distinct competitive advantage that buyers will actually value.
Which brings us right to our final P, proof. Because let's face it, in the next phase of global apparel sourcing, just making a green claim will simply not be enough. Businesses will have to prove it. We're talking from the cotton farm and ginning, right through to spinning, knitting or weaving, dyeing and finishing, garment manufacturing, and finally, international retail. Buyers and regulators want to know the verified data at every single one of these steps. Make no mistake, traceability is the new currency.
To actually manage all this proof, we are seeing the rise of tools like the digital product passport. Think of this as a digital identity for a physical product, preparing for emerging EU market access requirements and regulated sustainability data. While it's important to note that not every single textile product operates under a final mandatory passport system just yet, preparing for these emerging data requirements is quickly becoming a critical market access capability.
But a quick word of caution here. We love to talk about blockchains and digital platforms, but technology alone cannot magically make inaccurate source data truthful. Immutable does not always mean accurate. If a supplier enters fraudulent or incorrect data into a perfectly secure system, well, it's still incorrect. Wrong data in remains wrong data out. Without strict governance and independent verification, the technology alone won't save you.
Proof isn't just about the initial supply chain either. It's about what happens after the garment is made. In a circular business model, waste becomes raw material. In Bangladesh, cutting scraps are known as Jhut. Supported by organizations like UNIDO, there's a massive opportunity here to transform this jute. It's collected, the fiber is recovered, it's spun into recycled yarn, woven into fabric, and created into a brand new garment. This isn't just waste management, it's the creation of an entirely new, highly valuable industrial segment. Let's move to and see how this all builds into a cohesive 5-step roadmap for Bangladesh to transform sustainability into a true competitive business advantage. Step 1. Measure your resources at the product level. Step 2. Integrate that sustainability data directly with your costing and production. Step 3. Trace your fiber to garment journey reliably. Step 4. Circulate your materials by formalizing textile recycling. And Step 5. Collaborate across the industry to share the financial investment.
If Bangladesh can actually pull off this roadmap, it triggers a massive, massive competitive shift. Historically, the traditional model relied heavily on low prices, high volumes, and basic products with very limited visibility. But Bangladesh does not need to compete only through the lowest cost anymore. The future model is all about higher value. It's driven by resource efficiency, circular materials, and verified traceability. It moves the industry away from just having green factories to operating entirely green, responsible supply chains.
The global market is undeniably moving in this direction, demanding proof, circularity, and shared responsibility. So the real question isn't whether Bangladesh can become sustainable. The real question is, can Bangladesh afford not to? Take a look at these 5 options. What is the biggest barrier to sustainable apparel manufacturing in Bangladesh? Is it A, investment, B, buyer pricing, C, technology, D, policy, or E, industry mindset? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.